Welcome, everybody. It is demo days again. Hope everybody's having a great week. Hope it's not too hot out there. We're starting to cool down going into the weekend here in the US. And um, I know some of you have already been on some of the prior demo days, and we've seen all sorts of different solutions and platforms and vendors. And today I have with me Peter and Tate from Zorus, DNS Security. And as many of you, especially some of you older MSPs and IT pros, know that the evolution of where DNS security has started. First, it was like no security, it wasn't even built for it. Then, you're looking at proxy settings in Windows networking and things like that. Like, where's this going? Especially when the client's computer is infected. But come a long way. And Zorus has a very, very interesting approach to it, especially for the security side, especially as attacks are getting ramped up and all kinds of stuff. So thank y'all and for being here. If you have a question, feel free to drop a comment. The comments come in, I can see them. If not, no worries. You can always drop a comment and these guys can reach out to you later or just comment. Guys, Peter, Tate, welcome. How y'all doing today?
Good. Thank you.
Doing good. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Where are you guys calling from?
So I'm actually up on Long Island in New York. So a little bit east of Manhattan. I would say about an hour out. But yeah, if you can't tell by my accent, I am from Long Island. So.
All right. Well, and you take.
Yep, I'm on the opposite end, so I'm in Orlando, Florida, so way down south.
All right. Well, yeah, you guys are definitely. Florida's probably more humid right now, I'm gonna assume. So you guys are getting it to you. So, Peter, Tate, you guys want to introduce yourselves and Zorus and all yours?
Sure. Yep. So anyway, I'm actually going to jump to the slides here. I got a couple introduction slides to start, so I'll start in that way. Just give me 1 second here. One second. All right, and I'm going to see my screen. All right, so. Quick introduction here. My name is Peter Linden. I am a partner success manager here at Zorus. So I am a member of the partner success team. Alongside of me, I have Tate Stroh. Tate is in support and engineering. He has a ton of experience in the portal. He's could be a great reference here throughout this demo that we have here. If there's some more question on the technical side there. So again, Peter Linden, I have Tate with me here today, and it's a pleasure to present to everybody here. I've been with the company since February of 2023. Tate has been there longer than I think slightly longer. So again, it's a pleasure to be presenting here today. Now I'm going to basically start here, very basic, and I know a lot of people and in the MSP community already know the benefits of DNS filtering, but there are many that do not. So this is where I'm going to start with the fundamentals here. So the first question to ask is why even use a DNS filter, right? Some of the benefits here: stop ransomware before it becomes a threat, filter and eliminate phishing activity, right? Especially with those newly registered domains, phishing activity is very common there, and the Zorus filter, is able to block that, right? Block users from malicious websites that contain malware, reduce risk of data breaches, and improve employee productivity. So how does it improve employee productivity? For one, your employees will not be spending time clicking those malicious links or going to those malicious sites, but also with our content filter, we are able to see sites, that aren't so much necessary for the business to run. So there's going to be less time spent on those sites and more time spent on sites that are more necessary for the business. It's no secret cybersecurity attacks are increasing. They're becoming more complex, more common. So obviously DNS filtering is one of those necessary tools in your security stack there. Now, speaking of security stack, right? DNS filter, by no means would we say that this is your only tool that you should have, right? But it's a very necessary tool and works complementary with some of your other security tools, right? So I like to, use a cybersecurity castle analogy where, defense in depth, right? Similar to a castle, how to draw a bridge, a moat, a wall. You're still going to have your EDR, you're still going to have your firewall, you're still going to have your AV, your MFA, but the DNS filter is definitely going to work complementary with those tools and is a very usual as well as common tool amongst those set of other tools within your security stack, right? So a lot of times DNS filtering, works on the outer layer here, right? Is one of the first lines of defense there, before the firewall and before those malicious links or malicious actors get to the device there. So that is where Zorus comes in, right? One of the layers of your security stack. It was founded in 2017 by former Datto executives. They had found a need for a very MSP geared, easy for MSPs to manage, tailored for MSPs, filtering product to add to their stack. They also found a need to not just have filtering in traditional sense. It's a tool that definitely needed to get upgraded along with the modern way that to modernize and keep up with, like I said, the more complex nature of how cybersecurity attacks are happening. Since it started, I have over 500 MSP partners and over 150,000 endpoints protected. This is actually an older slide, so the numbers are even much greater today. But just to give you the general idea, we have been growing, have been getting our name out there and partnering, with many MSPs throughout the channel here. So Zorus, in a nutshell, right? So what differentiates us from some of our competitors? And our idea at Zorus is we protect and monitor endpoints anywhere your users work. So again, the last part, right? Anywhere your users work, as far as how there is a more remote environment now, right? The devices are traveling, it's in the airport, maybe, going overseas, traveling to another part of the country, so on and so forth. You're not always in the office, right? So we travel with the device, with our agent, wherever the device goes. And then on top of that, we protect and monitor endpoints, right? So traditionally DNS filtering does the protection part of endpoints, but we have figured that, again, to keep up with the times and to keep up with the necessities of today's cybersecurity landscape, we not only need to protect but monitor. So what does that mean, right? So that could have some user behavior analytics, right? We could track what users are doing. We could say, hey, X and X user is spending so-and-so on this site or in this application, and hey, that's dangerous behavior, and also to incident response. So if there was a blocked event or a time when they collect a malicious link there, you could actually dive in and you could see what happened before that event, after that event, what were the behaviors leading up to that event. So an analogy I like to use, and again, I like to use like real world type of examples, or everyday examples rather. An analogy I like to use is, sometimes just putting up a fence isn't going to always be able to be enough to keep out an intruder, right? But sometimes you need a fence and then, a security camera, right? Because a security camera is going to dive in and see what time did that intruder, try to get in. And it's going to give you more insights than traditionally, more insights and data than, traditionally just having that fence or that protection up there. To the next slide here. All right, so Zorus, right? And how does Zorus work? Zorus at its core, right? So Zorus is unique compared to some of our competitors, and that we filter traffic and catch the communication going out of the device before it leaves the machine. Traditionally, communication will go out, total one will go out, it would go to the DNS server. The DNS server acts like a phone book, matches up with the IP, then goes out, and then you get totalwine.com there, right? At Zorus, we catch it before it leaves the device. We go to the Zorus policy server, and with our security filter and our content filter, it goes under intense scrutiny there to see if that is a communication that should be allowed, whether it's a site, an application, so on and so forth, that should be allowed or denied. And then once that is made, then it goes out and then continue on its journey, right? Important to note there is that what this means for the MSP is that there is no changes in DNS settings. So for those techs out there, for really setting up customers, changing in DNS settings could be very labor intensive, could lead to some more problems, could get tricky. This, without the changing of DNS settings, is obviously makes it a lot easier, a lot simpler to implement, and push Zorus out to the customers.
Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking here, because I'm looking at this. So when I go to a URL, it is hitting your endpoint, and your endpoint is basically going to your policy server, and then your endpoint says, "Hey, what's happening here?" And then whatever that is, then it moves back through. Is that kind of what is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. That is exactly what I'm saying. And Tate, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's anything more to add there, but yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, what Pete said, our agent lives at the kernel level, so essentially we're referencing every bit of traffic before it leaves the device. So we grab that traffic, reference our policy servers. If it's allowed, then we let it continue to resolve at the DNS server that you have set, whether it's Cloudflare, Google, your internal DNS, and then it goes through. If it's not supposed to be allowed, then we block it before it even touches your DNS server.
That's cool. So basically, you could manage DNS without managing DNS or secure it down. Okay, that's cool.
We don't change DNS settings. We don't change host file settings. So just live at the kernel level and reference our policy servers.
Yeah, that'd be very attractive for a lot of techs out there. So okay, cool. All right. Sorry, I had to ask.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Jump in whenever you have a question here. And is there any other questions there with the?
No. All yours.
Oh, okay, great. All right, and then just a quick last slide here on the end of the slideshow, and then I'm going to jump into the portal and into the demo here. Just some of the benefits here, right, of Zorus. You got hassle-free DNS filtering. Again, easy to implement. No changing settings there on the server, so easy for the MSPs to both implement and manage. We have Geo IP filtering. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes here on the portal there. Adaptive internet incident response. Again, that goes on with the monitoring section of the portal, the CyberSight incident response there. Insider threat prevention. Again, that links into the CyberSight part of the portal when you get all that data there. Proactive security. Again, get that data so you can be more proactive than reactive, which is increasingly important in today's world. We have user behavior analytics, SaaS app usage, shadow IT detection, and user anomaly detection. Again, a lot of this highlights the benefits of our CyberSight add-on part of the portal, which again takes the filtering a step further than traditional filtering. So, all right. So now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the portal here. So, and any questions there with anything on the slides? Anything you want to go over?
No. There's a lot packed in that. I like that, especially user behavior analytics, shadow IT. There's a lot there, so that's a good thing. So,
yeah, yep. And absolutely, and yeah, I know there's a lot there, and I'm going to actually be able to explain a little bit more, how that SaaS application and that user behavior analytics and kind of like more of that proactive activity. I'll be able to show more once I go over the CyberSight part of the portal and just like kind of how that comes into use there.
Okay.
All right. So on this part of the demonstration, right? So now we are into the portal here, and how I am going to go over this is I am first going to start out with how we implement Zorus, right? And then I'm going to go into configuration. Then I'm going to go into how it gets managed, right? So you get it implemented, you get it configured. We'll see how Zorus is managed by the MSP. And then we'll get into reporting, right? And then that's going to be, showing more of that incident response and SaaS application usage and user behavior analytics end of the portal. All right, so implementation, right? What you do is we go into the customer tab, and as you can see, again, portal's very MSP friendly. We have all of your customers listed in a single spot here. Makes it easier to manage, easier to organize, right? From there, what we recommend, and again, too, our implementation is a very good benefit of Zorus compared to some other products. We get positive reviews all the time from our partners, just how easy it is to implement. It's a few clicks there to get it implemented. So, going from there, we recommend implementing with RMM, right? We work with most RMMs, and from there you go import with RMM to add the customer, right? For the sake of this demo here, like I said, I'm not going to go too far into it, but we have automated with Datto, Kaseya, and ConnectWise. That doesn't mean we don't integrate with other RMMs. We do. We do have the script for that. And again, we want to learn more. I have more, knowledge and more information on implementation from our knowledge base. But yes, we do integrate with most RMMs. And then from there, we could go to, I'm going to just, for the sake of this demo, go to our test, right? And from there, you could select your customer from the RMM, and it is going to get configured on our global policy. And I'm going to go over our global policy in a minute here, but basically any new customer that you bring on is automatically going to be set up on this global policy. So again, it is an easy implementation. It's a few clicks, no changing anything on the DNS server there. And so is any questions there? What are your thoughts there with everything?
No, I like what you were just showing with the integrations. You said you had others, like, is this something I could also use like Intune or like Ninja, guys like that? Or okay. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And Tate, if you want to jump in at
yeah. For RMMs that we don't have integrations with, we have a generic PowerShell script, which you can easily upload into like Ninja and use our token and deploy out just like that. With the RMMs that we integrate with, like Datto and ConnectWise, we automatically create that site variable token whenever you import your customers, and you don't even have to touch the portal to create a token, and then we already import the script into like Datto and ConnectWise. So if you do have an RMM that we integrate with, it's a lot smoother. If you don't, it's still smooth. You just have to grab our generic PowerShell script and deploy it out from whatever other RMM you're using.
All right. And PowerShell available if I want to,
Absolutely. Generic PowerShell script we have.
Okay, cool. All right.
Alrighty. So yeah, so that's the implementation end of it. And again, like I said, pretty straightforward. We try to make it as easy as possible. And from there, I'm going to go show you the configuration, right? So now we have it implemented, and let's go into how we get this configured. So at Zorus, our thought process and our policy is to get everybody started on the standard global policy. I would definitely say the majority of our customers get their customers started on this global policy and they just keep it, right? But if you did want to make changes, you could easily do so, right? So again, we start the customer on the global policy, and that has two parts of it, right? We have our security filter and we have our content filter. So our security filter is all top of mind stuff. We never suggest allowing anything on the security filter, right? A couple things I want to call out here, right? Newly registered domains, right? That's very common with phishing attacks, malware, mobile malware, spyware, tracking sites, so on and so forth, right? This is the security end of our filter. Again, we never suggest that customers making any changes in here, unless if there's like a one-off situation where they may have to. But this, this we always have suggested to keep blocked.
If you don't mind me asking, the security on that, is that like sort of crowdsourced where, the different reporting engines and all the AVs and all they get, is that part of that database to be able to detect it, or you guys have your own kind of proprietary thing that you've been putting together as you're seeing users do?
So yeah, we have an external threat provider that will send us updates to our policy server regarding, what sites might be malicious and fall under these categories, and they update, constantly every day throughout the day.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So what that?
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And then, so from there, right, we have our security filter, and then we have our web content filter. So if you are to change policies tailored to what your individual needs are, this is where you would do it, right? So, maybe some, companies, some policies want, drugs and alcohol allowed, right? Or business and commercial blocked, or adult content allowed. It depends on each customer's individual needs. And then from there, we have subcategories, right, which you could allow and block. So the really cool thing is if you don't know where a URL may be, is we have our URL lookup, right? So, so we have Zorus.com. That category is park domains. Down in miscellaneous. Actually, I should really go ZorusTech.com here. Right, computing and internet category, low risk in information technology. So any URL that you're unsure of, you have our URL lookup there, and it will show you what category that is in. All right, now from there, we could then go to our one-off URL list, right? So this would be a situation, maybe that customer usually has social media blocked, but they want to allow Facebook. And only Facebook. That would be here in the allowed list. Or you could also have it the opposite, right? And let's say you have social media allowed, but you want Facebook blocked. That would be right there. So this is good for those one-off situations where you want, you want something allowed, or you want a site blocked. Our next tab here, we have geolocation, right? So this is IT location-based configuration, right? So you could block where that IP originates from. On our global policy, we have set these 5 countries here are locations that we deem necessary to have blocked. But again, this could all be changed based on the individual customer's needs. And a couple of things in settings. This is really, to go through depending on the level of granularity you actually want our filtering to work. One thing I would like to call out here, right? A super lockdown environment, a URL allowed list only. That would be if maybe you have 4 or 5 sites, right? Maybe like a mall kiosk or a dentist's office or one of those situations, and you just want maybe access to 4 sites, right? That would be good for the URL allow list only. Another thing unique with Zorus is the block traffic on agent failure, right? So most of our competitors automatically block traffic on agent failure, whereas we make that an option, right? So, and obviously we never want or hope or wish for the agent to fail, but in the event that it does, you are defaulted where traffic will not be blocked. However, you could change that setting easily right here.
So this is the global policy. So when I make changes here, it's the entire, your entire endpoint base is that says up there. If I go into an individual client and I have a policy with just them, it will override whatever is in the global. I imagine it would.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, you're exactly right. So this is the global policy, right? And again, our default base policy. If you make changes here, it's going to make, changes to the global policy throughout. But if you wanted to go down here now to an individual company, this will be overriding global. And,
Okay.
And as you can see here, we have, several instances where we are overriding the global policy.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. The yellow, because sometimes you need to know, what's been changed and where. All right.
Absolutely. And going off of this, right? So we have it too, where you could even create a subgroup within that company, right? So some of our customers, maybe the management team wants a different policy than the marketing team, or maybe the marketing team needs a different policy than, the sales team, or so on and so forth, right? So what you could do here is you could actually then drill down to subgroups, and from that subgroup, you could create a policy, tailoring to what that individual subgroup needs.
That comes in handy. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Get that request quite a bit, and especially too when it comes to, say, like, the CEO of the company doesn't want to have the same policy sometimes as the employees, and so on and so forth. All right. So you could also down here do policy scheduling, right? So maybe in that customer's policy, they have a default where Facebook's blocked, but you allow it around lunchtime, right? You could then allow Facebook from 12 to 1 for that device, during lunchtime. So that employee or, device is able to spend time in Facebook during those allotted hours. All right. So that is right. So now we have gone over implementation. We've gone over configuration. And again, our theme here is we try to make it super easy, super straightforward, super simple, because sometimes, software gets overcomplicated. And that's not what we were trying to do here. We try to make it really, really easy for our customers to use. So that's configuration. And now I am going to go into management of the portal. So we have it, the agent implemented, we have it configured, and now how do we manage once that's all set up? What I'm going to do here is I am going to first go into our customer, right? This is where my device is located. And the first thing we're going to see here is the filter protection summary. And this is really good in that in instances, right, and a lot of times with MSPs, right, maybe you have your customers, computers, all the devices set up perfectly, and they're not really seeing what your value is, right? They're like, oh, everything's working perfect. Why am I paying so-and-so to be watching all this money? So the filter protection summary is really good, and that you could say, hey, so-and-so customer, this is what Zorus did. I know, and again, DNS filtering works a lot on the back end. You can't always visibly see what it's doing. So you could say, hey, so-and-so customer, this is what Zorus did over the selected amount of time, right? This many requests analyzed, this much content blocked, this many threats blocked, and could really kind of show your value there to your customer in that situation. All right. From here, I'm going to go over the endpoints, right? And this is really where you configure, how you make those subgroups. You could add the devices here and put into the exec policy, the default policy, the sales and marketing policy, and you could, configure that end of it from here.
Can I?
Oh, God.
So can I just integrate with 365, pull my groups in, or is this something that is deployed via my RM, and I need to kind of, well, how does that work? Do you guys do that?
So no, we won't split out your groups for you through an integration. You will have to add your groups manually, and then you can choose to deploy where you want them. Whenever we set up the integration, it'll always connect to your default group. But if you ever need to change out the token, you go into those individual groups, hit the pencil icon, and then scroll to the bottom. And there's a token you can grab for that specific group if you need to push out to an endpoint for that group.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah, because groups are big. So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Right. So then this is again where you set those groups up. This is where you would also implement the CyberSight, which I'm going to get to. That would be the last part of this demonstration here. You would be able to add that on here. From here, I'm going to go show the network filtering, right? So we always suggest putting the agent on the device, right? We're agent first company, but for situations where you are not able to install the agent on the device, right? So maybe we have guest devices coming within a shop, an office, a site that you can't put the agent on the device, but you still need to have filtered. We could do that here. How that works is, you set up a WAN, and that will take up 5 licenses, and that will get you up to a million queries. So if you had to add the queries on from there, then you could do so one at a time, but it's defaulted where it starts at 5 licenses at a million queries. So again, that's instances where you cannot install the agent.
that's cool. Yeah, are y'all at a point where you can? I know a lot of things are connected now, but some routers, firewalls allow sort of third-party connections into it for that. Is it, or is this just basically like a drop in the IPs and the ranges at this point?
It's basically when you're adding a WAN, you're basically just dropping in the public IP, and we also have a way where you can set up a dynamic DNS. You need to change it, and you have an ever-changing IP so they don't ever get disconnected. And then you just set our quarters on your router, your firewall, and then you're connected. Obviously, this side of the DNS does change your network settings, because you're setting our quarters. So this is not like the agent.
Okay, cool. All right, just curious. It's all kinds of stuff. Cool. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So from here, again, still in the management side of, part of the demonstration here. So here's the Browse tab, right? And this is going to show all of your devices, right? Clearly listed. It's an organized spot where you're able to see, like I said, all of your devices located. And it would be able to split up, and you'll be able to see devices that have agent error, isolated, which I'm going to show in a minute, outdated agent, disabled, override, and so on and so forth. And this is also a quick and easy place to see the traffic logs, right? Traffic logs, important to note, we have full URL. If there's ever a miscategorization, easily to report miscategorization. We have smart logs here, which is a newer feature, and that's really good for incident response, right? So you could see what's going on before and after a certain, in this case, I don't have a blocked event here, but you could see the behaviors going and leading up to that blocked event, and then you could see the behaviors leading after that blocked event. So again, this is going into that whole incident response and getting some more insights into what happened, during a blocked event there. You'll get it categorized here: blocked, allowed, content blocked, threat blocked, and it's just a very organized place where you could see what has been going on with the traffic logs, right? I had mentioned a moment ago device isolation, right? So we have a tool here where we could isolate zero trust, isolate the device here. Again, that would be good in scenarios. Let's say you're suspecting malicious activity. Maybe you see it in the reports. Maybe one of your other security tools is telling you, hey, there's malicious activity going on. Another couple of case uses here that I've seen customers use it for One, if they're offboarding an employee, they don't want the employee to have access to anything more on the computer. Maybe a customer list or something of that nature. Also, if a device is traveling, right, and they want to make it very locked down. I've had customers come up to me in both of those situations, say, hey, some of my other tools do isolation, but this seems to be one of the quickest or quicker ways to isolate the device, right? So you simply go into browse. Let's say you want to isolate Peter Linden's device. I call in, I say I'm traveling out of country. I want it isolated. You click isolate the device. Important to note, it will restrict all inbound and outbound traffic. So that will then end up in an isolated device. And from there, you could then add, and you could set this up before and after in the configuration. You could then add certain tools that will, maybe help mitigate a threat. Let's say you're isolating for a threat, or you could add certain tools that you only want that device to have access to in the event that it's traveling, right? So, an RMM, if you need to add that, or if the customer says, hey, I only need to access these 4 sites while I'm traveling, you could easily do that there.
So this is all done just with the endpoint that was dropped in via RMM.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yes. It is done just with the endpoint. Correct.
Right.
Yeah, isolation cannot be done with the network filtering. That's another bonus to this agent. Is it's a lot more powerful in what it can do and what it can, what information we can gather.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So, I got, so that is, and then of course, right, we have unblock requests, right? And this is a really, really, key feature with Zorus, and that, our customers always kind of praise this, and that it's it makes it very easy to manage. It makes it easy for the techs to manage. It makes it easy to manage the customers. We have our unblock requests right here. So how that works, and I'm not going to fully do it, right, is I'm going to totalwine.com, right? It'll get the Zorus block page. This web page is blocked. This page is fully brandable. You could get that branded to, the MSPs brand, or even that customer. You could have that customer's logo on there. And again, this page is fully brandable. And what that device would do is then request access to the page, right? From there, you're immediately going to get a unblock request here.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have it set up in different ways, where maybe only one person gets the email. You could have it set up where the ticketing system gets the email. And from there, you could then simply allow or deny the unblock request, right? Important to note, allowing, you could allow it to the customer policy. You could allow it to the global policy. So now that will be, let's say this is just, totalwine.com, and you want it allowed across the board around for your whole customer base, you would do that to the global policy. You could deny, right? And on a deny, you could either notify or ignore. So you deny the unblock request, and you can either have it where that device doesn't even know that it was denied, or you would get a little pop-up here that it was denied. Similarly, you'll get a pop-up here that it was allowed. So you do get a notification that it was allowed or denied, unless you request not to do so.
So I'm laughing because I'm wondering, does Chris know that we're using this as an example to make him look like a wino?
Yeah. He starts the weekend early, so he's always trying to go to Total Wine. But
wine. Okay.
need wine. But yeah, now Chris is actually he works with us here, so we always pick this totalwine.com as like a link that we commonly go to. So he very well may be a wino, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's the unblock request. Again, that's a feature that seems to be very popular, and our customers seem very happy with it, because again, it makes it super easy to manage. It makes it super easy for their techs to manage. And again, I'm just going to jump down to here as well, because you could create a sub-user account or an end-user account. And if you create a sub-user account, they will be able to have access to these unblock requests. So that's in a situation where you may have a tech that you want total access to being able to manage that customer. So there's different options there that you could do. Now, I am going to go into the CyberSight reporting, and I'm going to show, and this is, again, this is more the reporting side. So we went through implementation, we got the agent implemented, we got it configured, we now have it showed how it gets managed, and now we have our reporting, right? So this is where Zorus kind of takes it a step more than many of our other competitors. And this is where we get more of the insights here. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to go by levels of granularity, right? Overview being the least granular. Then I'm going to drill down further on the weekly activity. And then I'm going to drill down even further with our timeline. And important to note too, all of this could be sent out as a report here in our report manager. So yeah, so this is the least granular report here, right? So how a lot of our customers like to use this report, and this is will give you a nice general overview. I picked my own endpoint here, but how a lot of our customers like to do it is they like to pick the endpoint of their entire customer base. So they would go Zorus internal, pick everybody, and let's just get a general insights onto where that customer is spending, or that customer's devices is spending its time, right? So we got top websites, we have top applications, top categories, top streaming activities, and then this I'm going to get to in a minute here. But important to note here, right? Some of our customers now have insights like, hey, this is where the SaaS application management comes into place. Like, hey, you're using 20 LinkedIn licenses here. It's showing that you're not really need LinkedIn all that much. You could then you could then say, hey, you only need 2, right? So you can now offer a way to save your customer money. Another thing is, with user behavior analytics, right? You could say, hey, some of your users are kind of spending time on sites that are a little shady or maybe a little dangerous. That is kind of where like the shadow IT detection comes into place, or maybe they should spend less time on these applications and websites. As far as user behavior analytics goes, is you now have the information where you could tailor make the policy for your customer, right? So maybe you could say, hey, so-and-so customer, your devices are spending a lot of time on Facebook. Maybe this is an area where we should now go into our content filter and we can now block. Or you could say, so-and-so customer, you're spending a lot of time on Excel. Maybe we should offer more services and training in Excel, or offer different, ideas there, like I said, offer more training, coaching, and so on and so forth. So those are some use cases. And obviously, too, we do have customers that they have their customer that says, hey, I want to see what so-and-so employee is doing. We like to focus on the security benefits of it, but there are productivity management cases as well for this. So important here, though, right? So we have all of this data, but what's really good is that you could easily identify outliers here, right? So you could easily identify out of all of your devices the most active endpoint and the least active endpoint. And then you could drill down further and see, maybe something's going on. So let's say I see, hey, Peter Linden's laptop, least active endpoint. Let's drill down further and see what's going on here. I could then go into the weekly endpoint weekly activity here, right? This gives you a more granular view. So this is the next step in granularity of where I was spending my time throughout this week. Important thing here, right? So this gives you a general view of active time, right? Sometimes maybe you say, hey, very active Monday through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it starts dropping off. What's going on? Or you're spending a lot of time on, certain sites on Wednesday or Thursday, we need to kind of work on that, right? You have your weekly activity, you have your streaming activity here, which is all activity streamed in the background, right? So if you have Zoom in the background and working on something else, that's going to be put on streaming activity. And you could drill down further. This shows the top 8 or so sites I spent my time on. You could drill down further, and you could then get, you could then, see where even more of the time has been spent on the sites and go down, like I said, a lot further. All right, so that is now the second most granular report. And then to get into the most granular now is we have our timeline here. So I'm going to go to my endpoint here. And this gives you kind of like a live view of where that device is spending its time. Again, several use cases here. We have, on the security side, maybe, the shadow IT detection, the device is spending its time, in sites it shouldn't be. The user behavior analytics, you can now drill down further. If there was a security incident and you wanted to investigate further, you could do so here, because you could get second by second information on what the device was doing. And again, to, the productivity monitoring piece of it as well. You could have here, right? So important to note, right? So we identified the outlier, we drilled down further, wanted to see what my device was doing. And then going even further here, we could go into the timeline, right? So one thing that our customers really like to look out for here is the timeline, is idle time and machine lock time and so on and so forth, right? So clearly, you could see here, I started around 8:20 this morning, right? That's when my machine came unlocked. I had some activity here, and then I took a little bit of a break. Don't tell my boss this, but I had a little break here with machine lock time, and then I started back up again. So this is going to give you more of a second by second breakdown of what the device is doing. And then if you want to drill down further, you could do so here, right? So maybe we identified some time where there was idle time here, and you wanted to drill down further. You could go, put between 11 and 1 second here. Right, and we could drill down further and see where I was spending time. Now, important to note, which could be a little bit confusing at first, right, is streaming activity and active time are double counted. So if I have a streaming activity going on behind the scenes while I'm actively working on something else, right? This is about 1 hour and 15 minutes, but I have 1 hour and 40 minutes of activity time because I have the streaming activity added on. If you wanted to take that off, you could easily do so. And it shows that I was active at that hour for about 1 hour and 10 minutes or so.
Are you able to, do you guys screenshot what they're doing or activities or no? Okay.
No. So, well, I'll show you the activity log in a second. Screenshotting, no, we like to say, again, that's taking it a little too far in our view, but this is really good in that it will give you the information that you need to see what the device is doing. I do know compared to our competitors, it is at a much cheaper price point compared to a lot of our competitors too. It will give you the information you need. It won't go as far as if you're trying to use it for productivity monitoring, but it's another option out there.
Okay.
Now, again, to get more granular here, I am going to show you the activity log, right? This can get exported to a CSV, and this is going to give you a second by second breakdown of where my time has been spent, right?
Gotcha.
You could filter it out, web page. You could filter, play around with it and filter out by, category, whether it's idle time, application, web page, machine locked, so on and so forth. And again, this could all be put in the report manager there. So Yeah, so that is, basically going through the reporting there. And so I just wanted to see what your thoughts are, if you could see any use out of it, the security benefit of it, any questions?
No, this is cool. That's why I asked. It kind of taking screenshots, and like you said, it's like going too far, and you're because there's a lot of privacy. But it's
Right.
just enough to say, hey, all right, um, and that is one of those things where I imagine it's not going to be like the first thing you go to. The biggest thing is just making sure that organization's safe. You know,
Mhm.
but that's pretty cool that it goes into that sort of granular, zoom in like
Mhm.
that. What How far does this go back? Like, 90 days, 30 days? Does it depend on what does that look like?
And Tate, correct me if I'm wrong, but this goes back indefinitely for as long as you have the
Yeah, so
CyberSight extension installed on the device.
correct. CyberSight goes back indefinitely. Traffic logs are 90 days. So generic DNS entries are 90 days.
Gotcha. All right. So the white labeling, I'm interested in that because that is something that is is very important, especially when a user is browsing the web and then suddenly they see this site come up saying, hey, you can't do this. They may, if they don't recognize it, they may say, oh, something's wrong. I've been hacked or whatever.
Mhm.
How easy is the white labeling for this?
Yep. So that is the last thing I was going to get into here. So down here on branding, right,
Mm-hmm.
you could see the white labeling. All right. So from here, this is your global white labeling setup, right? So this will be across the board what it's defaulted at. You could put your logo in here, put a message in here, kind of set it up how you want it to be set up right here. So this is where the white labeling is. This is what's going to show up on the block page, whenever a end user, goes to a page that's blocked.
Is that, you said it's global? Can I, if I have clients who are like, I want our logo on there, I can do it per client if I
Right.
want to?
Absolutely. So this is the global, right? So
Okay.
you'll have this set up, and then from there, you could, once again, similar to like the policy, you could
Yeah.
drill down and customer white labeling right there, and
Okay.
you could drill down and then put it at the customer level, right? And this is going to override. This is going to override the global white labeling.
Can I see like a preview? Like if I'm doing this, can I see a preview of what it would look like, or it's just this is what I see?
Yeah, you would be able to do a preview. Take correct. If I click here, this would open up a preview.
That's uploading the image. If you scroll down in the white labeling, there is an option. It should be go to the global white labeling.
Okay, so change it to
There's the preview. The screen's really small there, but right above the dark mode block page checkbox up there, Pete, says start preview.
All right. Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
there we go. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So right,
Okay.
this will be the preview that you have here.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because usually when you go in, you're a new MSP maybe, or you're introducing this. This is really good to say here are the expectations, what they're going to see. You can take screenshots for them and post it, things like that. So I like this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one more thing in the branding, right? Since we are MSP only and geared towards MSPs, we have a marketing portal here, right? So this helps our partners market Zorus out to their customers, and and this is like our fully brandable, white labeled marketing portal that they have there, and we also have other resources too. If they ever need to reach out to the partner success team, we do have more resources that could help them with the marketing end of it.
That's cool. I like that. That's a good one too, because explain to people, today's threats, Google, Microsoft, just because it's in Chrome and stuff doesn't mean that they're going to protect you. You know, you have to, you know, sometimes you really got to get on it. What's the, so real quick, I know we got to wrap up here in just a minute. We're coming near the end of the hour. What does it look like in terms of onboarding? Say I wanted to start. Is it something to where I could just, as soon as I deploy the agents to my endpoints, pretty much good to go? You know, is it like, you know, just a couple of hours, or what does onboarding turnaround look like?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you run our script from whatever RMM you're using, those agents are deployed, and it will show up immediately in the portal. There's nothing you need to go touch on those devices or anything.
Okay, so pretty quick. So, all right. I think we're gonna start slowly wrapping up, but guys, you don't. Let me move this out for you. There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
You know, are there any last words, anything that you want to say for people who are watching, or is this recorded for later? Anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I appreciate, obviously, Garrett, I appreciate you having us here today, and I appreciate everyone, you know, coming out and interested in learning more about Zorus. Obviously, if you know, to learn more, the best thing to do would be to you know, just set up a quick call with one of our account executives. They could run you through everything, you know, run you through pricing, run you through the portal, you know, how we get set up, then, you know, head into trial. And, you know, again, we're MSP only. So we really like to work with our partners. We really like to work with our, you know, new prospective customers. So, you know, any questions or anything, feel free to come and reach out and, you know, inquire more.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I definitely see the value. I think you guys have definitely been a nail on the head on different areas here, especially with the idea of being able to manage the DNS security without managing the DNS. That is a very attractive feature because that's a big time saver. At the same time, you know, it's not so deeply. If something screws up, the whole thing goes, you know, so that's just regular DNS, you know, stuff. So for those of you out there, thank you all for watching. One of the things that if you wanted to, you can always leave a comment. YouTube, LinkedIn, these guys will be able to go in there and respond to you. Also, you can go check them out at zorustech.com. Is that? Yeah. And you can also go to the channel program and search for Zorus because as some of you know or don't know, we're a platform that is specifically for the MSP community. MSPs come on and review products such as Zorus. So when you're looking at a review, it's not going to be some paid review by other, you know, product site reviews out there. This is actually going to be people in the trenches that you have been in as an MSP. So go check it out. And Peter, Tate, thank you guys very much for joining us for Demo Days. This is really good to see. I think you guys have an amazing product, and really like it. So I'm sure I'll see you guys out there, and good luck to y'all.
All right.
I appreciate it. Yep. Have a good one. Have a good Friday.
Y'all too. I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up. See.